the White House has released little bits of the truth about COVID-19 lockdown, pandemic, whatever they try to call it. Now, in my opinion, so everything I say from now is just my opinion. Don't take it to heart. I don't think there was a COVID-19. That's just my opinion. And you saw all these, it first started, didn't it, with Sky News, Russia, China, or whatever it was, just a cameraman. Think about it. And if you can, go back on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you saw these Chinese people falling over in the streets. The cameraman was already there, ready to film, right? So it's not like an event was happening. The cameraman was just there. And the first sight you see is a Chinese person at a market, and all of a sudden they just fall over. And then the camera panned round to like a line of people, like dominoes, just collapsing and evidently passing away. In my opinion, I thought from the start that looked very staged, and even before they were trying to think of what it was and etc., I thought to myself, is this some kind of parody? I don't mean to upset people because I know there are lots of people out there, their loved ones died, and this is not a dig at you, this is not a dig at your loved ones, but there wasn't enough questions asked to start with. In my opinion, I think this was one of the biggest scams in history. It was the biggest power grab we've seen in the 20th century. I think the whole thing was a setup just to see how well the public, who pay their wages, by the way, would comply, to see how much pressure they could put on us and see how many sheep there were around the world. So, what do we have here? World Health Organization WHO. The WHO's response to the COVID-19 pandemic was an abject failure because it caved to pressure from the Chinese Communist Party. Well, there we have it. I'm sorry, in my opinion, the communists are just as bad as the Nazis. And back in the day, during the war, if you were a communist over in the UK, for example, and I'm sure it was like that in America as well, you were arrested and charged, or sometimes put in front of a firing squad. Not saying that should happen in this day and age, but moving on. Placed China's political interests ahead of its international duties. Further, the WHO's newest effort to solve the problems exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic via a pandemic treaty may harm the United States. So, like I said at the beginning, it did all look very, very staged, and yeah, the truth is starting to come out in little dribs and drabs, because I think there's a deeper state, shall I say, that are doing their best to stay undercover. Social distancing, the 6 feet apart social distancing recommendation was shut down schools and small business across the country. Obviously, this not just America, this is all around the world, was arbitrary and not based on science. Yet, everyone, just remember we had Dr. Fauci, the NHS, we had our leaders, the government, WHO, and everybody else saying to us, what did they say? Trust the science. And here we go. They haven't got a clue what the science even was, and nothing was based on science, in my opinion. Dr. Fauci testified that the guidance sort of just appeared. It sort of just appeared, everyone. Oh dear. Moving on. Mask mandates. There was no conclusive evidence that masks effectively protected Americans. Yes, that was true, because during the pandemic, we did see people starting to question the whole pandemic, shall I say. Put masks on, took a vape, and when he blew it out, it all came. So it's common sense. If you're trying to cover your face from coughing and splattering and spreading germs, you've got to have something that's tight, like, I don't know, a balaclava, for example. Lockdowns, yes. Prolonged lockdowns caused immeasurable harm to not only the American economy, but also the mental and physical health of Americans, particularly negative effect on younger citizens. Well, it would do, wouldn't it? I mean, me personally, it was quite nice. No traffic, not many people around, and you could make excuses not to talk to people. So that was perfect for me, really, because I'm not really a peoply person. I pick and choose who I want to like, depending on their character, of course. Right, what's it say down the bottom? New York pandemic failures. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's, however you pronounce his name, March 25 order, which forced nursing homes, that's another thing. They did target the elderly, didn't they? The elderly had to go. Sorry to sound so harsh, but I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. You know what I'm like. I have no filter. I do try. I really do try, and I promise I'll try in this video. COVID-19 positive patients with medical malpractice, I agree. Evidence shows that Mr. Cuomo and his administration worked to cover up the tragic aftermath of their policy decisions in an apparent effort to shield themselves from accountability. Well, yes. Yes, of course they were, because they're cowards. Absolute swaggering cowards, aren't they? They come out of all this crap, expect everyone to bow to them. Everyone's out on their orders on a Thursday, tapping their pots and pans and cheering and blah blah blah. And those of us that were asking questions for the start, I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but I'm sorry, we told you so. We told you so. We were advising everybody to say, well, hang on a sec, have they actually proven with concrete evidence that this so-called alleged disease is going around? Because all we saw is people in hospital with masks on, looking quite like they're acting, in my opinion. A lot of it did look staged, but sadly some people allegedly died of COVID-19. And it did come out a little while later that they were actually dying of underlying problems. But oh no, they had to keep the story going. They had to keep this pandemic going, didn't they? Oh, it was COVID. Yep. Oh, you've got long COVID now. Yeah, just a bad cold, but it's long COVID. I'm sorry to sound so harsh again, but in my opinion, this is exactly what happened. Now, as we saw during the pandemic, we saw all around the world Stasi-style policing, didn't we? Now, I'll just give you a couple of examples what happened in Australia, if you haven't already seen it. I think some of the police, in my opinion, enjoyed the power grab. Do you agree? I think they really enjoyed it. Have a look at this.
You have no idea yet?
No.
So, this guy was just out and about, because I know there was protests and the police did come down very harsh on the protesters when a lot of people, it was a bit like the domino effect with that as well, wasn't it? People were starting to do a bit of research. They were starting to say, hang on a minute, no, we need to rise up against this, and rightly so. Here we have a policeman officer in Australia coming up to a guy, and look what happens.
We'll do a check.
Sure.
If you're not breaching anything, then you're all good. Otherwise,
Oh, they're all coming out of the truck.
Yeah, all these coppers are coming out of the truck just for one guy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can I have your names and badge numbers, all of you, please?
I'll take that. 2 seconds. Well, I'm asking you the details. You have my number's 393 and 0.
Your name is?
So my number's 393 and 0. You can read it here.
Your
My
name?
name is Christian Scan, attached to the public order response team.
Okay. Station?
I just told you.
Public order response team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll grab yours.
No worries.
Rude.
All right, guys. How do you feel about all this? How do you guys feel?
What's your last name?
I don't need to tell you. Am I under arrest?
Well, you will be if you don't tell me your name.
Well, I'll arrest you then.
See, if you don't give your name, you'll be arrested. That is just typical Stalin style policing. On to the next one briefly. Another one from Australia. Yep, this time they're pushing a middle-aged woman over just because she decided to have her rights and freedoms and go and protest against this pandemic. Sorry about the picture quality. Yeah, just pushing. Just pushing the citizens around. The citizens, by the way, who pay their wages. Yep, I do believe the police all around the world did enjoy this power grab, and some of them became rather barbaric and rather arrogant. Guys, we must never let this happen again. You can't just go around following the crown because, I don't know, the Pied Piper told you to. You know the story of the Pied Piper. He played his flute all the way up the hill and went over a cliff and everyone followed him. For crying out loud, guys, come on, wake up. Don't let this happen again. You need to ask questions. You know, who willfully just put their arm out and said, yeah, put that jab in me. We don't know what's in it. You don't know what's in it. So, yeah, we've been told it's a vaccine. No, it wasn't a vaccine. A vaccine is tested and only deemed safe for public use after a number of years. A jab is the experiment. You were all experimented on. And the aftermath of that jab, as you know, has caused a lot of bad side effects. Again, testing the public, I mean, in a way, it's better than animals, but it's still bad. Both are bad, in my opinion. They have to test on something, but not under the disguise of a pandemic, just to get people to agree to jab them and test them to see if something works. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you soon.